pa social media, mundubile masoja ya muyenela. They aimed at his life, kaili mavoti eve bana mubela. Mavoto alipela mundubile, but my results need different story. You stole his vote, we are now a military state. Who will speak for the people? Now that Kafwaya Mwapaya, if votes are stolen, then what is the purpose of elections? Democracy is dying. Mutotweba Kaya, tell me who pulled the trigger? Another two man in Dani. Democracy is dying. Zambia is a danger zone. Ukuvota Kwanshi, Kwanshi. He came in power on democracy. He now has power through hypocrisy. Constitution is dead in front of foreign cameras. Apanumba Bumfia Masoja. You attack the boys at midnight without regard for their life. Vinshimuti Nabakateka with guns. Abateka, no goofy. Who killed Mutotwe Kafwaya? Who sent the assassins? Justice, not rhetoric. Noti Ubufia Tini militia. A stupid excuse used to persecute the opposition. The fake treason. Democracy is dying. Mutotwe Kafwaya, tell me who pulled the trigger? Another two man in Dani. Democracy is dying. Zambia is a danger zone. Ukuvota Kwanshi, oh, Kwanshi. Mutotwe Kafwaya, rest in peace. I cry for the wife and kids. Walilomba nefilamba filepona. Umulopa ulefuma. Amasoja benavale kuma. Ubuteko now uses guns. Democracy thrown in guns. What is the purpose of the Constitution? Ballet to take out with guns. You detain opposition to avoid competition. Democracy is dying. Mutotwe Kafwaya, tell me who pulled the trigger? Another two man in Dani. Democracy is dying. Zambia is a danger zone. Ukuvota Kwanshi, oh, Mutotwe Kafwaya. Hear us now. We are still here. We are still here. Democracy is dying. Mutotwe Kafwaya, tell me who pulled the trigger? Another two man in Dani. Democracy is dying. Zambia is a danger zone. Ukuvota Kwanshi, Kwanshi. News yenze pa social media, mundubile masoja ya muyenela. They aimed at his life, kaili mavoti eve bana mubela. Mavoto alipela mundubile, but my results need different story. You stole his vote, we are now a military state. Who will speak for the people? Now that Kafwaya Mwapaya, if votes are stolen, then what is the purpose of elections? Democracy is dying. Mutotwe Kafwaya, tell me who pulled the trigger? Another two man in Dani. Democracy is dying. Zambia is a danger zone. Ukuvota Kwanshi, Kwanshi. hypocrisy. Constitution is dead in front of foreign cameras. Up a number, bomfia my soldier. You attack the boys at midnight without regard for their life. Finchimuti na bakateka with guns. Abateka, no goofy. Who killed Mutotwe Kafaya? Who sent the assassins? Justice, not rhetoric. Noti ubufya tini militia. A stupid excuse used to persecute the opposition. The fake treason. Democracy is dying. Mutotwe fire. Tell me who pulled the trigger. Another too many dying. Democracy is dying. Zambia is a danger zone. Ukuvota Wanshi. Oh, Wanshi. Mutotwe Kafaya, rest in peace. I cry for the wife and kids. Walilomba nefilamba filepona. Umulopa ulefuma. Ama soja benabale kuma. Ubuteko now uses guns. Democracy thrown in dust. What is the purpose of the Constitution? Ballet to take out with guns. You detain opposition to avoid competition. Democracy is dying. Mutotwe fire. Tell me who pulled the trigger. Another too many dying. Democracy is dying. Zambia is a danger zone. Ukuvota Wanshi. Oh, Mutotwe Kafaya. Hear us now. We are still here. We are still here. Democracy is dying. Mutotwe fire. Tell me who pulled the trigger. Another too many dying. Democracy is dying. Zambia is a danger zone. Ukuvota Wanshi. Wanshi.
Many of us in this region proud that you still have a judiciary and armed members of the judiciary that are able to do what is right for their people. We must be proud of that. We understand they went through temptations, a lot of temptations, and they withstood these temptations. Money, other things we hear were thrown at them. But they understood why they are on the Constitutional Court. Because the judiciary, the courts must be the place of last recourse, where we go to seek justice. Injustices are done every day in our elections. We know it here in Zambia. 2015, 2016, we know it. But in 2016, our matter was not even heard. Yet the Bill of Rights is clear that if a citizen is aggrieved about anything, they have a right to go to court. And any court of competent jurisdiction has an obligation to hear them. It didn't happen in this country. It has happened in Malawi. We're so proud of that Malawi Constitutional Court bench. I hope we can all learn something from that ruling, that you cannot continue cheating the people, the very people that gave you an opportunity to save them, especially in those roles. So congratulations to the opposition in Malawi, and one other thing we learned from Malawi is that they came together. The opposition came together. Here we have some oppositions that are surrogates of the ruling party who are used to abuse fellow opposition. But there, Dr. Chakwera, Dr. Silas Chidima, and others came together for a joint petition to save the people of Malawi. It's another lesson that we Zambians must learn. But more important, it's a Malawian citizen, the Malawian voter, who did not allow their vote to be manipulated. When their vote was manipulated, they showed it. They went in the streets to express their displeasure on how somebody had stolen their votes. They did it for months on end. It encouraged the judiciary. So you can see the point here. The battle, the fight must be fought from different angles. And the citizens have...
The Non-Governmental Gender Organizations Coordinating Council, NGOCC, has noted with grave concern the closure of court premises across the country by the judiciary of Zambia. This wanton, unprecedented, and unexplained action has rendered the courts of law inaccessible to members of the public, with no timeline given for their reopening. Of particular concern is the timing of this closure, which has conveniently coincided with the constitutionally mandated 7-day window within which an aggrieved candidate may file a presidential election petition. By shutting the very institution citizens must approach to exercise this right, the judiciary risks obstructing a process the Constitution guarantees and has left the citizenry shocked and questioning what has become of a democratic Zambia that prides itself on good governance. The courts are a cornerstone of any democracy. They are the forum through which citizens, regardless of status, seek redress, hold power to account, and have their rights upheld. An inaccessible judiciary weakens the doctrine of separation of powers, upon which our constitutional order rests, and signals a troubling drift towards executive overreach. This is an indictment on the current government, whose duty is to safeguard the independence and accessibility of the courts. NGOCC further notes with sadness that this closure fits an unhealthy pattern of aggression witnessed prior to the elections, particularly directed at those opposed to the ruling government. That this pattern persists post-election erodes public trust and threatens to turn what should be a season of national healing into one that further jeopardizes the unity Zambia has long cherished. Women who continue to bear the brunt of exclusion from justice and decision-making spaces stand to lose the most when courts are shuttered without cause, as it further narrows already limited avenues for redress and participation in governance. NGOCC condemns this closure in the strongest terms and calls for the judiciary to act transparently, independently, and in full defense of citizens' constitutional rights.
Good day, dear Zambians, and welcome to today's broadcast. Thank you once again for joining us, and thank you. We never take it for granted when you join us that we discuss matters regarding our nation currently in crisis, our nation currently in post-electoral crisis, and we should discuss it. Although we are charged with emotions, we are charged with outrage on what's happening to our country, a country that has never been to war, that has never engaged in civil conflict, that has never engaged in civil unrest. But you have a President Hakainde Hichilema, who's determined to push that envelope, and he hopes that nothing can be done. A journalist, they sent details on the alleged militia, because now with your concerted effort, our concerted effort, and the few that are speaking, information has begun to filter that these elections were deeply flawed to the extent of being rigged, and that President Hakainde Hichilema may not have been validly elected, that the role of the army has alarmed many people that have since seen these reports, and they begin to revise their optimistic post-electoral process, where they were beginning to focus on his inauguration. So your efforts, citizens that are writing to the United Nations, to the AU, to SADC, to the International Criminal Court, all of you, all your efforts that are writing newspapers, and the advent of social media is beginning to help. The message has filtered. So this senior journalist has sent a batch of information is being sent from Lusaka to justify that the entire crackdown, including the closure of the courts today, is to prevent a militia from accessing the judicial and constitutional issues, because their actions are outside the law. Remember when the president was speaking to University of Zambia students that marched to State House, he even joked that mapati vamene nizavivala, you know, his Tonga Nyanja. I'll play that clip. That's his mindset. He thinks that Brian Mundubile, who's clearly widely now being seen as the one that won election, in light of the rigging, the extent of the rigging that was done, is now being criminalized as a militia leader, one wanted to pursue unconstitutional means to grab power. How do you grab power when you're popular? How do you grab power when the nation has voted for you? Why do you need to grab it when the people of Zambia have given it to you? It is President Hakainde Hichilema's inflated votes that he gave himself in over all 32 constituencies that have been cited. And I was seeing a post-electoral analysis where they are citing these constituencies. There is no single constituency where Brian won and he had more votes than the parliamentarians. But President Hichilema was winning sometimes with a variant of 40,000 and an MP gets 15,000. And he's telling us that up to 30,000 people were only interested in one ballot, the presidential ballot, and the 3 other ballots they would pocket and go away. So the irregularities are so crazy. They say it's being compared to the Liberian election. There was a candidate in Liberia, you Google him, the entire electoral college, you know, the voting population was 256,000. The man got over 1.6 million votes. President Hakainde Hichilema is being compared to that. Now, so the journalist got in touch with me and showed me the evidence they have, you know, five assault rifle, I think AK-47, which we now have understood they got from the anti-robbery squad. That white Range Rover we've been talking about that accompanied the military raid is from service headquarters. We don't know. We're trying to establish whose white Range Rover that one they used. It was carrying some AK-47s from the C5, from the flying squad. And remember, we told you that they went to while everything was going, there was a team that was videographing and putting those things near the door and entrance to Brian Mundubile's home to allege that they had found weaponry. That for anyone with that information around someone from service headquarters or C5 that uses a white Range Rover, please report it to us. We identify it, we identify the owner, because we are using the public to gather this information. So they showed me the 5 AK-47, and lo and behold, there is strong evidence that there was a plot to kill President Hakainde Hichilema. Is JJ, for you and all of you that watch a former Petauke Independent Member of Parliament, Emmanuel J. Banda. You know, he has that prayer at the beginning where he prays that people should take the life away from the president. He prays to God, he calls them dangerous prayers. And he says they should take away the president. Now there's that video where he kept on saying Chipayen, Chipayen. They've included that video as evidence that Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu wanted to kill the president. Does Emmanuel J. Banda speak for Brian Mundubile? If they ever seen Mundubile speak of violence or any plot to kill the president, Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu have always spoken peace. And they have included the video by Binwa Mpundu that the two is evidence that there was a plot to kill the president. Clearly, you see how bogus it is that the militia story has now collapsed. It's a phantom story. And the action today by President Hakainde Hichilema, collaborating with the Chief Justice, Mumba Malila, to close the courts, is a death in the nail, of what I, looking at my experience as a diplomat for 8 years, worked at the African Union, sat in the Peace and Security Commission, the commission that handles, issues of civil unrest, wars, and the issues around, displacement of internally displaced persons. And having studied at master's level peace and security studies, I can tell you what is happening in Zambia is a coup d'etat. It features and fits all description. Because you have the military storm electoral centers, the totaling centers stormed by the military. They alter the results under their supervision with others. They change ballots. They grab the audit trail of documents such as Gen 20 and the summary documents. They change the results. That's the first step. Second step, there's an assassination attempt on a leading candidate, Brian Mundubile. Sadly, that bullet gets his colleague, 2 bullets gets his colleague, Mutotwe Kafwaya. And his attempt to challenge, and then the crackdown they've done, just the last 7 days, they've arrested everyone associated with lodging that petition, including Constitutional Court Judge Annie Mwewa Stali. They've arrested everyone who's witnesses and everyone that has been working on our election petition. Others were frozen out of fear. The initiative we've been telling you about that was supposed to be lodged in as a citizen petition was also the lead person. The 2 lead persons who were supposed to do this, one is detained, the other lawyer, senior lawyer, backed out and said we have no evidence, even when there is overwhelming evidence just from the mission observer mission reports. Overwhelming evidence. And today's decision to clamp down and close courts of law, these are constitutional officers. You cannot close courts of law because you are preventing your arch rival from filing his nomination. This is a coup d'etat. That's what President Hakainde Hichilema has called it. You may be polite. You may find other terms to call it. He has lost the election. He has stolen the election and is enforcing using the military and using security infrastructure to reinstate himself, to give himself a second election. He's even using courts of law that are expected to be independent. I'm very, very... I've personally woken up with deep appreciation that not everyone is giving up in our country. I saw that the Law Association of Zambia called for an urgent meeting with the Chief Justice. They've laid demands on the Chief Justice. They've published publicly that statement of demand to the Chief Justice for him to open the courts immediately. We have seen NGOCC, I've just played a statement here by NGOCC chairperson who has immediately called for the judiciary and Mumba Malila to open those courts. Those are people's courts. Their grievances placed. Courts of law are a big and essential component in our peace and security. Without justice, you cannot have peace. You will have President Hakainde Hichilema singing peace, gathering groups, telling the church to call for peace. But peace, the foundation is justice. You cannot have peace without justice. It doesn't work. You cannot hold peace and security without guaranteeing justice. So justice has been down, the doors have been shut, yet you want peace to prevail. But so, like I'm saying, when I woke up just an hour ago, I'm so warmed up that there have been so many voices to expose what has happened and to say this is a turning point in the life of our country, that you can have such an aggression by the executive to the extent that all courts of laws in Zambia have been closed. And now they are falling over to justify why the courts are closed. I don't know how many statements have been issued from one government. So many statements now, because they've just realized the gravity of, the gravity of what they've just done. They have crossed the line. So let me just read you some of the statements that have been issued. You are the Human Rights Commission, of all commission, Timi Dazea. You know, they've got that spokesperson, Mulea, who I argue with, is so partisan in his disposition. But the Human Rights Commission have issued a very strong statement. Dr. Pamela Toela Sambo, chairperson, Human Rights Commission, has issued a statement condemning the closure of the courts of law and demanding that they be opened. These are people's courts. Not every conscience with this open attack against democracy is letting this go by without taking record and without publicly rejecting the emergency of this coup d'etat in action. The Zambia police all of a sudden are saying there was a security threat on the courts, and that's why all the courts were closed countrywide. You know, the statement issued by the Inspector General of Police, Garfield Musamba, doesn't even make sense. And he says they continue to conduct security checks on not just the judiciary, but other public infrastructure. The funny one, the funny statement that I just laughed out loud was the one issued by an Emmanuel Chanda, who's now acting chief registrar. He says there was a statement issued on 4th August, they've backdated it to 4th August. They're so predictable, that the High Court will be proceeding on what they call a My Command's vacation, which commences on the 8th of August and will run up to 6th September. So for the whole month, the courts, the superior courts are on My Command's vacation, what they call My Command's vacation. So foolish, like they're dealing with children. So what happened in 2021? Did the courts close during August? We had the elections in August. Did they close? Come on. Don't fool people. What is here actively taking place is a coup d'etat. The president has hijacked all security and democratic institutions. Remember, his tenure ended. He is president to hand over to whoever has been elected. If he's the one that has been elected, the power is given to him on re-election. If it's an opposition leader that has won, you hand over power, like your predecessors did, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda did to Frederick Chiluba, like Rupia Banda did, giving Michael Sata the power, like Edgar Lungu did, giving you power, Mr. President. They didn't send the army in totaling centers. They didn't send the army to confiscate Gen 20, the audit trail of any election. They didn't lock up people that were participating in elections. They didn't send UPND or their party thugs to storm totaling centers and grab ballot papers like your Kalufianya and the guys, your thugs in Kabwe did, by disrupting the process and stealing thousands of votes. And they didn't change the results. Chitambala Mwewa lost elections to Gabriel Kibombwe. You've, without shame, just changed the results. Ignored the Gen 20 and all the audit trail and documents. And you just declare him. And you are so shameless, you've gone to Mandevu, where Banda won, you reinstate, you put Christopher Shakafuswa. Now the Electoral Commission is appointing who should be an MP, disregarding the people's will, the people's vote, the people's decision. And the ECZ is just willy-nilly, just changing results. Or who have we left who we work with? And they are changing those results. This is a coup d'etat in progress. And it's being done by a sitting government and transition president whose term ended, who is supposed to be, to be declared. Look at the so-called declaration of him as leader. On inflated results, he refused to, for ECZ, Mwangala Zalomis and a team of UPND cadres like Zevianji Sinkala and McDonald Chipenzi, refused that there should be a verification before the announcements were made. And when Tonga attempted to challenge them that there should be a suspension of these results because the results that were being announced were bogus. Southern Province had an average total turnout of 30%. They were announcing like up to 70,000, 80,000 people had voted in Southern Province when it has recorded the poorest voter turnout since 2006. This is not Emmanuel Mwamba speaking. This is a record of Mission and observers and others that participated in this election. The rigging is so open, without shame. And when Roosevelt Tonga challenged the Electoral Commission of Zambia to halt the announcement, remember there was a boy who came with a pajama and ordered the ECZ to stop taking any political questions. And the ECZ obliged. And they said they should be stopped. And when Tonga demanded, requested from Tonse Pamoze Alliance that the results that were being announced should be verified, they threw him out. They beat him up in front of cameras. And civilians, and you saw the Red Berets, they were in the National Results Center. That's where they were. They were not even outside. It's not even the police that came to pick Roosevelt Tonga. Although they were decent, the two gentlemen, the commandos, were decent and they didn't beat him. It's that Victor, the short guy from UPND, who was beating him. But they're not supposed to be in those premises. That's what the African Charter on Governance and Election does. Even the SADC Charter on Elections also forbids that. We have an active coup against democratic and constitutional institutions of our country. They want to rush to inauguration while skipping this process. Today's matters are so sad that the election petition is part of the elections. Elections consist of campaigns, voting, and if there is any legal challenge, and election petition. The election petition is part of elections, so you cannot, for example, ban campaigns and just allow voting. Or you can't allow voting, you can't just allow campaigning and you forbid voting and election petition. The three by our constitution are all components that comprise the election. Campaigns, voting, and if there's an electoral challenge at ward level, parliamentary level, you can go to tribunals and then you go to the High Court. At presidential level, you go to the Constitutional Court. That avenue was shut. The election remains incomplete. The election has not ended. By shutting out the last part of elections, you have not ended. President Hakainde Hichilema has not been validly elected if there's an election challenge that is pending. In this case, it has been shut out. I can tell you that if they proceed with the inauguration, he will continue to remain illegal and illegitimate because the process of electing him as president has not been completed. Remember what our Constitution and Electoral Process Act and Electoral Act of 2016 provide for. Campaigns, voting, and the post-electoral process should be completed. It's not like a challenge for the MP where they have 90 days in which to determine the result of the president. In the presidency, it gives 14 days. The Constitutional Court must determine whether the president was validly elected or not. It doesn't have 90 days like parliamentary seats. It has 14 days in which it should be determined. So by President Hakainde Hichilema shutting courts with the collaboration of Mumba Malila, what they've done is they've suspended our elections. Our elections are not complete. They've not fulfilled our elections. Let me come to the matter regarding... Oh, by the way, thank you very much. I told you that they shut me out on YouTube. They closed my account, and I said I was going to make a call to YouTube. I'm privileged that one of a friend of mine who's an Indian national, works for YouTube. I quickly alerted him that Amanda attack could be Tony Blair, could be Greg Mills, could be First Quantum. They are all attacking this small channel, and this man with very innocent small voice, they want to shut me. They reviewed the action, they reviewed the complaint, they realized it's bogus. So we are live on YouTube today, and we thank God for you and your prayers. We are live on YouTube. Sorry, we First Quantum. Sorry to Temwa. Sorry, we Tony Blair. The other matter, I woke up to so many messages that what do we do, Wamamba? TN kwa ICC, TN QN, TN kuliba Donald Trump. We want to equalize, so what do we do? Let's go to African Union. And this is now becoming a reprimand. It just literally has to become a reprimand to all of you. It just has to become a reprimand. We need to say things as they are. We want to equalize. This election is a Zambian affair. This mindset that someone is coming to rescue us will sink our country. This faith in foreign intervention, US embassy, British embassy, no one will save us other than ourselves. It ought to be a very strong reprimand. We all think someone else will resolve our matters. You think Donald Trump doesn't have his issues that he's dealing with? Oh, we want to equalize. We want to equalize. Even when you have hope in the international community, multilateralism, there's what we call multilateralism, where the UN had powers, where no war could be declared against another sovereign state without the involvement of multilateral institutions and making those. That process is dead. Each country is looking inward and its own interest. The UN is literally powerless. There's nothing, it has failed to stop the war on Iran, the war, all these wars on Venezuela and others. It has stopped. This faith that the UN, when we speak to them, will march into our country and rescue you. No one is coming. We need to get that. No one is coming. If we begin at that level, introspect, we will probably look for solutions within ourselves. We want to equalize, we need to have candid views, very candid views. Your faith in the international community, your faith in UN organizations, SADC and AU, is totally misplaced. I love your commitment where you think these institutions will rise to protect our country. I admire that noble cause. It's like we are living in the 90s. We are not. We have leaders doing whatever they want to do to their country and their nationals. And if the nationals do not rise, nothing is. That's why there is no more apt words than what President Hakainde Hichilema said himself. Let me play it to you again, just for your understanding. Let me play what President Hakainde Hichilema said. I know you could have heard this statement, but listen to it. The Malawans, the elections were rigged early, I think in 2015, 2016. They went on the street. And when the president at the time sent the army on the street to stop the protest, you know what the army did? They went to the Electoral Commission and surrounded the Electoral Commission And they said, will not allow anyone to interfere with their results. The results are to be given by the Electoral Commission of Malawi, will be the results that will enforce as the army. 2021, similar things happened. There was an attempt to steal an election from Chakwera. What did citizens do? They were on the streets, weeks on end. And President Hakainde Hichilema says we should copy that.
Many of us in this region proud that you still have a judiciary and armed members of the judiciary that are able to do what is right for their people. We must be proud of that. We understand they went through temptations, a lot of temptations, and they withstood these temptations. Money, other things we hear were thrown at them. But they understood why they are on the Constitutional Court. Because the judiciary, the courts must be the place of last recourse, where we go to seek justice. Injustices are done every day in our elections. We know it here in Zambia. 2015, 2016, we know it. But in 2016, our matter was not even heard. Yet the Bill of Rights is clear that if a citizen is aggrieved about anything, they have a right to go to court. And any court of competent jurisdiction has an obligation to hear them. It didn't happen in this country. It has happened in Malawi. We're so proud of that Malawi Constitutional Court bench. I hope we can all learn something from that ruling, that you cannot continue cheating the people, the very people that gave you an opportunity to save them, especially in those roles. So congratulations to the opposition in Malawi, and one other thing we learned from Malawi is that they came together. The opposition came together. Here we have some oppositions that are surrogates of the ruling party who are used to abuse fellow opposition. The thing we learned from Malawi is that they came together. The opposition came together. Here we have some oppositions that are surrogates of the ruling party who are used to abuse fellow opposition. But there, Dr. Chakwera, Dr. Silas Chidima, and others came together for a joint petition to save the people of Malawi. It's another lesson that we Zambians must learn. But more important, it's a Malawian citizen, the Malawian voter, who did not allow their vote to be manipulated. When their vote was manipulated, they showed it. They went in the streets. Malawian voter who did not allow their vote to be manipulated. When their vote was manipulated, they showed it. They went in the streets to express their displeasure on how somebody had stolen their votes. They did it for months on end. It encouraged the judiciary. So you can see the point here. The battle, the fight must be fought from different angles. And the citizens have many of us in this region proud that you still have a judiciary and armed members of the judiciary.
News in the social media, Mundubile masoja ya muenela. They aimed at his life, Kaili mavote vebana mubela. Mavote walipela Mundubile, but my results need different story. You stole his vote, we are now a military state. Who will speak for the people? Now that Kafwaya Mwapaya, the votes are stolen, then what is the purpose of elections? Democracy is dying. Mutotweba, tell me who
Yes, okay. So you ask me how I am, and you ask me whether the closure of the courts is the democracy that we want. And in response to your question, I can say this, that I am not well. I cannot be well under these circumstances that we are seeing and what we've been seeing in the last few days and maybe a week now. As to the question of is this the democracy that we want? Honestly speaking, I do not know of any democratic system in which the premises upon which this cannot be regarded to be a democracy. Where, because I don't know in anywhere else where they close the premises of the Constitutional Court or any court when it is well known that a petition was going to be filed on what we regarded to be a last day for filing in of a petition after a major presidential and general election. This is not the Zambia we want, and we have to be told why the court premises has been closed and what does this mean? Has the Constitution been suspended? You know, has there been a declaration of a state of emergency in which all rules and regulations have been have changed? One dare even ask, is there a martial law? Is there a martial law in this country? And should I be afraid that because I'm asking these questions, they will come after me and arrest me? This is not right. This is not right. A competition which has taken place, and if there are aggrieved players of that competition, they should be able to be given the opportunity to scrutinize and for the judicial system to make a decision. There is no other inference that we can make as to why the court has been explained in the absence of an explanation, but to say that this is not a coincidence, this is intended to prevent the filing in of a petition. This is not democratic.
Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us. Continue to share the broadcast. Alert people that we are discussing the urgent matters that occurred today and their implications, the issues regarding the shutting down of courts of law by the President Hakainde Hichilema, and Chief Justice Mumba Malila. There have been various attempts to explain why the courts were closed, and none of the explanations so far are credible. You've been asking that there is e-filing. Why don't they just file an e-petition? And you've been asking, where were they the last 7 days? Why are they only now panicking to file on the last day? There's even another matter. People are even now doing filafinetwatemwa yo Zambia nga bawina elo ba Nigeria balusa, then ba Congo wachita draw kustu wachita qualify. So people are already discussing that issue of the days, discussing whether the deadline is today or tomorrow, and they've gone in detailed. You must have seen the detailed write-ups, if, when, and they are trying to calculate when the deadline is deadline. For me, I would rather regard that today is a deadline, and hence the action by the police, hence the action by the army since Saturday to seal off the area, arrest a judicial officer who's chief, one of the, I'm told is an acting chief security officer at the judiciary. We don't know if on Saturday there are people that attempted to file, so they've arrested the chief security officer from the judiciary, Mr. Zimba. Let's start with the e-filing. Constitutional lawyer Charlie, a man I respect, I think he's underrated by many. He's got a wonderful brain. I've worked with him previously in many political assignments. Very, very good, but he's not usually covered by mainstream media. He talked about if there's a run-up, what constitutes a 50% plus one. And just before I came on air, I saw he had argued that the opposition should just file an e-copy, an e-filing. And a call to the judiciary. A lot of people have told me that this e-filing doesn't work. Even the website itself collapses. Remember, every time we do reports about which judge is handling which case, at the judiciary site, they have pictures of those judges. They've removed all those pictures because the judges feel they're being humiliated. Because every time we exposed that who is Judge Chocho, who's Judge Vincent Silako, we're getting the official pictures from the judiciary website, but that has since literally been down. The e-filing to the judiciary.org also, I'm told, last week, something like in 2021. The law was provided for it in 2026. A lawyer can call either anonymously, or you can send me messages, or you can educate the people. But the e-filing in Zambia doesn't work because we haven't invested in it. The infrastructure hasn't been invested in it, and the system just doesn't work. Unless you just want to send it to like an email, maybe. You have no idea even if it will be received. So I found the argument by my dear brother, the lawyer Charlie, a bit sorry Charlie, you know you're a dear friend of mine, so I need to choose words to say, but it was a bit shallow. Look at the e-filing that is done in the Johannesburg process. You file, there's an acknowledgement, e-signatures are provided, and there's an acknowledgement. You just don't file and forget. No, there is a court process, a virtual court registry that takes place. Even the scheduling of judges that are supposed to hear your matter is also given. So there are two key offices at work in the e-filing system. Number one, the registry. Number two, the judge in charge who will either hear the matter or allocate the matter. And when you do an e-filing, for example, in the South African court, you get answers to those two issues immediately. First, they will acknowledge they've received your e-copy of your application, petition, whatever you filed. Number two, they will give you stamped authority that they've received, give you receipt. Number three, the judge in charge will either allocate the matter to a judge, or to himself or herself. Those three processes, you must have seen them at short notice when Makebi Zulu was fighting these people that stole the body. How within an hour after arriving in South Africa, the lawyers got that judgment, that order from High Court in the night at 20 hours when no courts were closed, Pretoria was closed. But the e-filing system works because the officials tasked to do that work 24 hours. And they filed, the matter was heard, and an injunction was done, all virtually. So, it's just not a matter of filing to to the judiciary.org. No. It's not an email. This is a petition. And if you look, that's why I've given you the infrastructure in South Africa. There is electronic confirmation with electronic seals. There is electronic even hearing that takes place. You appear before a judge, documents are sent there, and again there's electronic orders that can be issued or dismissed. So actually, in Jamaica, any of those officials who are doing that. Because who would have worried if the courts are closed? Who could have said, let's just go virtual. Let's just file e-filing. And let's have a hearing, confirmation, and the date when the Constitutional Court will hear this matter. That's what we should have done. So do not portray that others are down, that others don't know what's happening. The e-filing system in the Zambian court doesn't work like it works here in the United States, in UK, or the best example, over Edgar Lungu's case, you saw most of those agent applications were obtained either deep in the night or shortly after some adverse judgment was obtained. So how actually, Namikanina, Imomuri Wanandi, she require to spend time on it. The other matter is why has Brian Mundwil and Makebi Zulu waited for 7 days to make this application? Have you been following the issues? Have you been following that they consulted the former Constitutional Court Judge, Animo Astali, and the security forces raided her home, scaled her wall, brought down literally the door, and came and fished her out. Her husband tried to sorry, these are respected people. Let's not go into the particular details. But they got her and threw her in jail. She remains detained at Richard Kachingwe police post. You have not followed that matter for merely consulting a senior lawyer. You've not heard the case of Jonas Zimba, who was in Southern Province, trying to get the real Gen 20s Bawa people to expose the inflated figures by Hakainde Hichilema, where the voter turnout was around 30%. He has said voter turnout averaged around 65-70%. They scandalized him. They pursued him. Jonas was trying to get a breather. He has a friend, Masheke. He's a criminal lawyer. He has friends in the flying squads, in the police, in the intelligence. That's what criminal lawyers do. To defend criminal matters, you are in the realm of all those people. And they wanted to have lunch across to Zimbabwe. They criminalized that process like Jonas was trying to run away. No, he was not trying to run away. He was collecting Gen 20s and other evidence from Southern Province where President Hakainde Hichilema had inflated a treble 5 times the number of votes that he got. And let me look for that video by Mazabuka, UPND chairperson, who actually won the election, and he was bemoaning how poor the voter turnout in Southern Province was, and he was appealing to his people. What has the president done to you? Go and vote, go and vote. I've never seen this. In all my life, I've supported UPND. I'll look for that video in Mazabuka. And he was crying that the voter turnout was so low. You know, Southern Province, you find queues from 03 and late into 22 hours because people just crammed those polling stations. It was not to be. You saw the videos flying at 9 hours, no people. People were just walking in, and the independent candidates went and voted. There were just about 3-4 people. And he was also bemoaning people who were, had not turned out. Livingstone was another best case. Even Maramba and other places that are heavily populated. Choma was another example. Poor turnout. Choma, there'll be chock-up block voting from 03 up to 22 hours. They were empty. There was only a queue around 7 hours and it disappeared. President Hakainde Hichilema says there was a turnout of 70-80%. So Jonas Zimba was there. They proceeded to arrest Masheke, accused him, who's from immigration, accused him of trying to traffic Jonas Zimba. Jonas Zimba was not being trafficked. That same night he came back into Zambia. When I was talking to him, he was in Kalomo. And I was telling him, but Jonas, who dare devil, wala mipa, we want to akwalesa. If you went to Zimbabwe, please go. He says, what have I done wrong? I was alerting him about this ZNBC report and the story on one of the online sites owned by UPND, where they were alarming that Jonas Zimba has left and they've arrested Masheke, who is an immigration officer for attempting to facilitate Jonas. Jonas says, I'm in Kalomo. He even gave me some officials that are in Kalomo, and I spoke to them. Yet they were alleging, including ZNBC, that Jonas had run away and he was in Zimbabwe. So he says, Baleke and Mushta announced and in Kalomo because kutubaisa mkumfuaya. Jonas has the evidence of what happened in Southern Province. So, that 7 days, they've cracked down, including a mere security official at the judiciary. Courts are supposed to be accessed 24 hours. I remember that when we're raising a petition against Maul Sampa, when we held a legitimate conference, we finished typing our petition, I think around 0203, me, Mukwita, KBF, and Lukangawa. That was in 2014. And the lawyers know what to do. They began to call registry members who were ready. We finally found someone, and they know how they work. It's normal a judge can be accessed at their home if there's an urgent matter. What if your child is about to be trafficked and you need a court order to stop that child to be put on the plane? The judges are accessed 24 hours. The registry is accessed 24 hours. Here, President Hakainde Hichilema has clamped down on all those processes. Warnings that if any judge hear that matter. Remember, he has that Boyd Kayelu who's been threatening judges who he thinks are not in line. And look at how paranoid the president is. The people running the judiciary are his people. Why is he afraid? He can't trust them to hear that petition. You see how dangerous the mindset of the president. Even his people, he can't trust them. The people that ran elections, they were picked as post staff by ECZ. They went through aptitude tests. At the last minute, they were all removed. They brought their own people. Now, even their own people from their own region who ran our election countrywide are now being accused that they were on the payroll with Brian Mundubile, where they generated fake Gen 20 in Ensha, Monaco. Because now next you are going to accuse your own people. Mwachinja, everything. Now you say, no, Brian Mundubile ran the election in the country and all these people were the ones writing these Gen 20s. I want to know more English. You even removed ordinary Zambians and you placed your own people. Come on. So that's an issue about e-filing. It has an infrastructure. Even when you say we are fouled, it's like you are physically fouled. And I've given the example. On the 7th day, there's been a crackdown. Tonse Pamoze Alliance Secretary General, Celestine Mukandila, who's been at the center of coordinating this electoral petition, you saw how they swooped on him and accused him of being Congolese. It's only his chief who has come blazing and very annoyed at the president that his government was criminalizing and de-Zambianizing his own people. So Celestine has no case against his nationality, but they've gotten him, they've scandalized him. You know, it's like the case of Fred Membe and Dolika Banda. That pair shook some quarters because Dolika is deemed to be a liberal Democrat, you know, free enterprise person. On the left is Fred Membe, who's deemed to be a socialist. That pair was like a bomb. It didn't make sense. See how they scandalized Dolika Banda. Attempted to destroy a distinguished woman who's worked for international organization that she doesn't have a grade 7. So they went for Celestine Mukandila on the same lie that Celestine Mukandila is not Zambian. I've got a video of Chief Mpepo as we transition to the matter regarding, I give you an update on Mutotwe Kafwaya quickly, and then I open the phone lines. The reprimand to Zambians, I repeat, no one is coming. If we drill it in our mind that no one is coming, then we will internalize the decisions we have to make. We always have belief that the lawyers are handling this matter. And I'm repeating the reprimand that President Edgar Lungu gave us in the Central Committee. He says, you are being unfair on the lawyers. The lawyers have tried everything to get the PF on your side. They've got, which injunction haven't they obtained? Which court of law haven't they gone to? Which petition haven't they been to? Why do you think that the PF will be given back to you because of the work of the lawyers? You have seen how he has taken over the judiciary that is working under him. So now you have same belief, the same belief in that same judiciary, which is under the armpit of President Hakainde Hichilema, that you'll be given back the Patriotic Front. He gave us the reprimand, I'm giving you. And he told us, Bane, there are things you have to do yourself. You as members of Central Committee and members of Parliament and members party structure countrywide, there are things you need to do yourself. The lawyers are also going to do something. Your media team also is going to do something. But it has to be coordinated. What your legal team is doing, what you, the Central Committee, is doing, what your infrastructure is doing. That's how you will get the PF back. That was a reprimand from, President Edgar Lungu, and I've never forgotten. There was a chill. Because all of a sudden, all of us in the Central Committee were saying, George Sanga, give us an update. Where are we with the matter? When is the matter coming up? Why don't we get an injunction against Mao Sampa? Even heated debates, how the lawyers, maybe we should change lawyers. Maybe we should get state councils because this case is going nowhere. Shifting the blame from ourselves while we are seated comfortable, pushing blame on the lawyers that the lawyers were not doing their job. The lawyers didn't file on time. The arguments of the lawyers were not cogent. And he told us, what are you doing? Why do you think a legal process will rescue a political process? Why do you think that the work of lawyers, working under the difficult task where the judiciary is in the armpit of President Hakainde Hichilema, who will give you the PF? And to his word, the PF has never been given back to the Patriotic Front. So imwe mwebaletuma bamwamba international community ushe Donald Trump ushe ba UN yo ba ICC. Well, those processes are good and we are doing very well. What are you doing? Why do you want a political process to be rescued by a legal process? Or why do you want to be rescued by the international community? Then there is my brothers and sisters who are born again like me. Bamwamba mulekeni lesa kamukanda. Mulekeni bamwamba mwanishwa lesefia wakamukanda. You know, when my life was in danger, the threats against my life kept on heightening. I was beaten and tortured. And now I was coming to make a decision. And I had pastors come to pray for me, strengthen my family. And they kept on saying, God, God will protect you. God. Well, I never doubted that. God had protected me all the time. But it's something I needed to do. Because there was a timeline listed, the period I was going to be eliminated. I was going to be killed during the Christmas holidays of December 2024. They said there'll be an uproar, but it will be a small uproar because people have been in the festive mood. And Zambians forget easily. And sadly, the person who sat in those committees, you just never know an angel in those meetings they had to take my life away was there. And I had trouble my passport with the courts of law. And I couldn't alarm anyone that I just didn't want to cry out that my life is about to be taken away. Because the UPN were going to mock us. When I cry babies, you just cry babies. I committed it to prayer. My wife and I think, fasted for 7 days. During that same period, I received two international invitations to London and to the US for an urgent conference. One conference was in January, and they said Emmanuel Mwamba should come early to participate in the preparations because most of the people have gone for vacation. Can you imagine? Prayer works. I'm trying to come to how prayer works, but what you need to do. So prayer, yes, worked, and the invitations came. There are things I needed to look for money urgently. We needed to apply to court, and I needed to get out of the country. And I had hoped that by January, February 2025, I will assess the threat if it is real. The threats kept on intensifying. The Inspector General of Police kept on issuing statements against me. And, the threats even worsened. As we pray, there are things we need to do. As we pray, there are things we need to do too. Gideon had to get 300 out of 10,000. He prayed to God. Joshua, God had to help him stop the sun for 3 days. But Joshua had to fight the war. Take it Joshua, then the enemy is being struck like that. All the people of Israel in Egypt, even when the king, was struck 10 times with those miracles and still stayed put. There are things that they had to do themselves. Get up. Live. So, two people, even that were international community, I'm not inciting you, I'm just telling you. Either we resign to the fact that President Hakainde Hichilema is our president, we begin to talk about something else. We allow the coup d'etat that has taken place. We ignore that we are no longer a democracy. We accept that we are now a dictatorship. We accept that ichalo nachilubane fifine, nachilubana tukamoneko chikaya. But if you wish to fight for it, there's something you should do yourself. No one, I repeat, no one is coming. No one is coming unless ourselves. So let me go to the issue of Mutotwe Kafaya. I've got Chief Mpepo. He has issued a statement, a family statement. I'll be playing it very shortly.
Wake up to this morning news analysis show that provide facts, opinions, and reflections. On what the papers say, we frame key facts to provide a balanced perspective, set the national agenda, and focusing on cross-referencing newspaper coverage with primary data, expert and special guests to offer an in-depth look at daily stories. Live on EMV, I'm talking about Emmanuel Mwamba Verified. Wake up to this morning news analysis show that provide facts, opinions, and reflections. On what the papers say, we frame key facts to provide a balanced perspective, set the
Elio kwenda mwafyasheni ifiretitika mu pati echo lingalanda koine chakwe bati limo posterity aliba important chawama nalale nsala nasunga integrity yanti echo lingalanda kofia
wafumye nsala munganda waitwa street
because lili omuntu afwalirya abantu bakalalanda shani bakafaya n'abatusha mamumva amachuya levuma ku bantu mashiwa yasuma that's why abantu abengi chibakalipa because why integrity elio ififire chitike ififyonsefi twiba bakuwilamo vaezra tembo kuvaleka ife vale chitefyo but let's stand on what we believe in because ukuwina kwa winine NRUP te Ezra Tembo it's bamuntu bile na group yabo ebalengera ukuwina nangiro baba titubweke shepo bafumyamo bamuntu bile shina na bonze NRUP will get zero. So that's what we should keep in our minds. Is what we should keep in our minds. They have killed this man in cold blood. He was not armed. It's not armed. So now, tetukwete maka. Namona tetukwete maka. Aya kuyalwa na banenso bali abali kwa tefianso. Ifama katukwete nilesa nokwikatana. Kwikatana fetchiri fa important kwikatana ngatwa ikatana tetu watu pusani but ngatwala chito kuwanyanta no kuwanyanta kufanga pu ngachimbwe
lombati wa kanabesi mwawashita fe brief ni
yeah, so my briefing in Moria, what we have decided is that the family has decided that the burial will be in Ronte. So, our case, our government, what to demand the answers to the questions that we have. Nothing more, nothing less. We need the answers so that we know how our son was killed, not even how he has died, how he was killed. The circumstances surrounding his killing or demand was we need answers. Okay. Thank you. That is our simple statement from the member people.
Fangapum ngachimbwi.
Nalombati kana bese. Mwawashitafe brief yafine mateo.
Yeah, so my briefing in Muria, what we have decided is that the family has decided that the burial will be in Lonte. So abakesa kuri aba government kura kumushi watu demand the answers to the questions that we have. Nothing more, nothing less. We need the answers so that we know how our son was killed, not even how he has died, how he was killed. The circumstances.
Thank you very much, Chief Mpepo of Kanchibia, but speaking on behalf of the Bemba Rail establishment, says if one fundamental request that those that are coming to the government representative coming to the funeral in Lunte, it clearly appears that Honorable Mtoto Kafoya will be put to rest in Luntwe, in his constituency and in his village, and they're asking that government should come with a proper explanation how Mtoto Kafoya was killed, how he died, and they want answers. That's their main demand from government. I think we have tackled everything. We're dealing with Ichilema's decision to shut the courts and the various explanations that have been done and the various outrage statements that have been issued by the Law Association of Zambia, TIZ, NGOCC, and many others that have issued the statement. The consortium of NGOs have also issued a condemnatory statement. Let me open the phone lines and hear from you, and let's hear what your contribution is.
Yes, okay. So you asked me how I am, and you asked me whether the closure of the courts is the democracy that we want. And in response to your question, I can say this, that I am not well. I cannot be well under these circumstances that we are seeing and what we've been seeing in the last few days and maybe a week now. As to the question of...
Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador Nebo Mutari Alexi, so brief, straight to the point. Ambassador, this channel of yours has become a mouthpiece to many Zambians today, and may God bless you for that. Well, Ambassador, we're known as a peaceful nation. Zambia, people call many other countries have called us, so Zambians are so peaceful. But trust me, if we are taking this approach, even in the things where we are grieved, even in the things that we should exercise our constitutional right, just like what HH did mention in that interview, I'm urging Zambians to go on the street. This is when the United Nations, this is when the America that we are calling upon, they will see when they see the crisis in the street. Protection, our protest is our constitutional right. I'm urging Zambians that we should start going on the street and protest. The rest is up to God. Ambassador, I further call upon the chiefs. The chiefs are not helping us. There was a time when the chiefs would speak and the whole kingdom, all the village would hear. The chiefs, they should come together and condemn this act. The chiefs, they should not be Bamsela Kwakaba. Just because tomorrow they'll be given a meal or they'll be given a vehicle. No, the chiefs, they should stand on the side of the people. And I'm urging all Zambians, and through this platform, Mamba, you should bring the chiefs to task that this is what is happening cannot be tolerated. Because now, in my conclusion, Ambassador, we are seeing these people that are now going for tribal. HH wants to eliminate a certain group of people. If you're Bemba, Wapula, the Easterner, Muchinga, HH will be sorting them away. If you cannot kill them directly, we'll send them to prison. So if we want to achieve our goal, we need to fight, and fight even in the street. We should fight because this is our constitutional right. What has happened is a coup, and Getachew Kawana did mention that we hand over the power to the army. So we should protest until God hears. Thank you, sir.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hi, Ambassador. This is Nick calling from Denmark.
Nick, speak in the phone. You seem to be far from the phone.
Just hold on.
I don't know if you are using Bluetooth, I don't know, or earpiece, I don't know.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you are clearer now.
Okay, perfect. Ambassador, first and foremost, I think I would like to thank you for the job that you've done. Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of work that has been put on you. Well, as a citizen, I think you've done your part. I think it entirely was everyone's duty to fight for democracy. But anyway, I'll be as quick as I can. You know, Ambassador, the way I look at things in Zambia, is this has been going on for a very long time. You know, tyranny attracts tyrants. You see, from the onset, I think HH has gotten away with a lot of things. Okay, even from the whole privatization thing that people actually overlook. Okay, people have overlooked that privatization. They're undervaluing and then getting all that stuff. Zambians never take things seriously. Okay, so this guy has gotten away with so much, and now he believes he's untouchable. But fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Whatever he thinks he's achieving, or whatever he feels he's achieved, he's not achieved anything. Time will come, and one thing about Zambians is umulanduta ubola, Ambassador. Umulanduta ubola. So time is coming. It's very unfortunate. How I wish Zambians could just come together. Okay, upon coming together, every person who chose a brown envelope over protecting the constitution of Zambia should never be given an opportunity to serve in public office in future. Which also is just like me saying that, which I know, like, everyone in Zambia, we are not proactive. We talk and we never act. It's all talk and no action. Okay? So at the end of it all, whatever has happened has happened. I'll just be as sincere as we can. We've seen how this plays out. The petition would have been the best thing, but you see, everything right now just works against us. Okay, I think this should be a lesson. Okay, this should be a lesson for other future politicians to actually look at. I'm a supporter of Brian Mundubile. I've never met Brian Mundubile, but personally, my spirit was with Brian Mundubile. It's never been with HH. But we're here. We can't, we can't just hold on and speak about something that will never come. It will never. It's gone, and they've done whatever. We are now in a dictatorship. Zambia is a dictatorship. It's being run by a dictator, and everything was planned from the on-go. The sad thing and the most scary thing now is that we don't even know, with the numbers that they've given themselves in parliament. We hear things. These guys are projecting, and we look. We don't pay attention to what they are saying. That 10 years things might actually come to pass. When you hear all these UPND people saying HHPK 2091, we take it as a joke, but you don't know what they have planned. Chances are that they are going to play around with the constitution 10 to 10 years. In 10 years, where are we going to be? We become now a one-party state, and that is where we become. It's such a very sad moment for every Zambian, regardless of your affiliation, whether it's UPND, whether it's PF. Our constitution was supposed to be protected, and no military person should come and say, no, I was working under command. No. Everyone chose a brown envelope over the constitution by which they swore. I submit to Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Yeah, good evening.
Speak in the phone. Speak in the phone, my brother.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, hello. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, I'm calling from Copper Belt.
Yes, please make your contribution.
Yeah. What I want to say to the Zambians that are watching is that, you know, these issues that we are going through as a nation, it is so spiritual that most people, they think talking and protesting and all these things, they will work out against this man. I'm afraid to say this, that nothing will work. Even the and all these organizations that we are looking to, they will not do anything. Number one.
My brother, I like your discussion. Let me just interrupt. If you are saying this is spiritual, and I've heard this argument, no, you are Freemasons, you are nani. For them, they're acting. They're acting. You saw they went to the polling centers and changed results. They're acting. Today, if they are Freemasons, they closed the courts of law. If they are Freemasons, them they are acting. But you are saying it's spiritual. You just want to pray, not to act. Them they are praying and acting out.
Let me tell you one thing that is so cardinal. I know you may want people to rise and fight physically where a lot of people shed their blood. But
no, that's not what we want. That's our constitution. I think that's another mistake. I don't know why you've been brainwashed that a protest is violent. I don't know why you've been brainwashed that a protest will result in death. The constitution of the Republic of Zambia provides for peaceful protests.
Yes, I know the peaceful protest. We are looking at it from the point that you, Mr. Mwamba, cannot look at. Let me tell you one thing, that this man that you see now is different from the one that you used to see in the corporate world. The man that you see now, who is changing all these things, number one, he has no fear. Number two, he is not ashamed. Whatever name, whoever you call, whoever you involve. I want to tell you one thing that we need to do as a nation. You know, God is using this man to punish Zambia. Zambia was just declared a Christian nation, but what is happening in Zambia right now is not Christianity. Why I'm saying it's not Christianity, the men of God that we are calling men of God, all of them, a few are standing. Most of the people, I can say 98% of the so-called bishops and the spiritual fathers of this nation, they have diverted and gone to the harlots. What I mean is that most of these people that you see bishops, most of them are initiated, and that is why these politicians are playing with them like a ball. They are not even afraid. Remember that in the Bible itself, the men of God like Prophet Elijah and those people that ruled spiritually in the Bible, because I'm referring to the Bible as our reference, the people had power. King Ahab was an evil king, but he could consult the prophets. He never went to war without consult. They used to know that there are prophets of God and they used to be rebuked and they would do things in the secret. They will know that a man of God is there. But today, you find the same men of God are going to bow to the politicians for favor, which is the opposite. Now, what God is doing is not, whether you like it or not, God is punishing us through this man. But of course, there is a way that us, children of God, can cry to God and things can be turned spiritually. Number one, if we go on our knees and we want to punish this man who is oppressing and taking away our rights or this and that. Remember that in Africa, look at Côte d'Ivoire. How many people died because of the same man who ruled them? When they discovered in Côte d'Ivoire that their state house or wherever they were getting those jobs, they discovered a lot of wicked activities. The man was so hard-hearted until a lot of people died. We do not want people to die in Zambia. The only weapon that we have, this broadcast that you have the right to tell people that let us fast for total 3 days. This is a small job, my friend. When there's a corporate anointing.
Okay, my brother, before you go, there are so many calls. What I wanted to say, I think if you have been following our broadcast, is that each one has to do their part. You look like a prayerful man. You should do your part. There are civic duties that citizens have to do. There are things like me, a former diplomat, should do. All of us should do our role. If you think that the land of our country and the seat of power has been taken over by Baal, you be a Daniel, a Shadrach, a Meshach, and a Abednego. You resist. You stand against it as you pray. If citizens have to protest, let them protest. If me, Emmanuel Mwamba, has to speak to the White House, let me speak to it. My point is everyone has to do their role. This business that only one thing would work is what I'm saying will not.
No, what I'm trying to tell you is...
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is Dr. K from California.
Dr. K, make your contribution.
Unfortunately, I haven't been active. I didn't follow video kushu pumlando what temperature I live very high. No kuntumai. I think you know it is even now it is in other states. I have a cool desert. I want to talk about the situation that has taken place in Zambia. We had the elections. We know that Mundwili won the elections, and the YHH have been given back the presidents by the military who had a coup. The coup was on the voters. Instead of going to take over the power and say we are now the leaders, they took the votes and just made up numbers and gave them to HH. Now here we go. Both of them, they are using each other. Ziere is using HH, HH is using Ziere. So we have a military government at the moment. That's what I can call it. It's a military government, but with a civilian leader. And unfortunately, HH does not know that this thing can turn against him very, very quickly. And even Ziere doesn't know that this can turn out to be very bad for him. We have a history of dictators being excited, and some members of the public that support a dictator being excited, more especially those in the church that pretend to be godly, but they live kind of very evil life. Because some of them, they are excited at the death of our brother, Honorable Kafwaya. Wamwamba, death is something else. And if you are going to call death of Mr. Kafwaya, which was not there, like there was a battle, there was anything, then you call it as collateral. Wait until it touches you. And this day is going to come, and everybody is going to say, this was called for. The president called this on himself and on the people that support him. This is wrong. We've been a very good people all over the world, respected because of our peace. Unfortunately, one man who was handed over power peacefully, joyously, and graciously has done this to you Zambians. Can you believe a person that you gave everything graciously, you supported graciously, and then he turns around like, you know what? Kiss my behind. That's what he has done to the people of Zambia. It's wrong. And when that time comes, please, mwebale musapota. Mwike bati, yo, abantu abataba bwino. More especially the people that are on the chopping board. That's what I can call it. There are some people in Zambia that are on the chopping board, deliberately on the chopping board.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc. There are so many people trying to call. All the phones are buzzing, Doc. Let me take the other phone.
The call for protest is very important. Abantu abaland that protest can be messy. We had protest in the US, Black Lives Matter. And everybody came to support those protests. It is because abantu mitima yali kalipa. Na mwewa wemba, mwewa ndechiwemba, mwewa kwisteni, mwewa le chuchutika, mlandu wa kwebati, mwafia rafi kumutunduta mwachuzingle. Awe, ilo le shenu mamiras, mwe pushe finchi tuarufia nya. And do something. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alokora, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
And known as calling from Osaka.
Thank you.
Ambassador, thank you very much. Let me remind you, do you remember the time they started fighting you? And are you aware that that same time, it's the reason why you are where you are? If had it been that you were in Osaka, we wouldn't have an opportunity to express our grievances over what is happening. Now that these things are happening, I believe it's a connection to what King Saul was doing to David. These guys are not just criminals. They are a very serious occultic. Zambia needs to pray. If there's anywhere where you can please inform Makepi and BM, whatever means they're using to put in the petition, they should also seek spiritual intervention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alokora, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for your work. I want to speak with my fellow Zambians. Not to Sanswa. I just want to tell you that our forefathers in 1964, they had courage to face the enemy and to claim the independence and the freedom that we have been enjoying until HH came in power. I just want to say sorry to tell you that this general elections with Mundwile, it was the last penalty for us to have a second independence. And this is the time, if we are not in the position to fight and to defend for our country, we are completely finished. I just want to tell you that there is no international community who will come and secure and to help you in this country if you cannot use the street. Africa, the international communities, they came in when they saw that there is this pena in that country. You can have an example from Tanzania. What happened? You can see another example from Kenya. I just want to tell you that even if you say that we can wait for 2031, I want to tell you that there will be no chance for Mundubire. If you cannot defend right now for Mundubire to be cleared right now, and this is the time, I cannot believe. I just want to tell you, by this time, everybody knows, including my dogs, they know that we don't have a constitution. We don't have a judiciary. We don't have ECZ on our side. And if you cannot fight for yourselves right now, you have a reason to fight. It will not be possible. It's better you kill yourself, you leave your country, join Satanism organization for under UPND. This is the only thing. As I conclude, it is not possible exactly no Zambian. You start waiting for God to come and fight for you. God is a spirit. God, even to have courage to think your brain that it should not be there. God to be there to have, for you to have strength. It is not possible that you can wait for God. Understand? You cannot gold. Exactly, there is something that is not normal in our country. Everybody is very quiet. I just want to tell you, every person, whether you have been dancing with HH, you have been supporting. I want to be so nice so that I don't include other people. Any person who has been supporting HH, even yourself, you're not safe. I just want to tell you.
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you. Thank you so
much. Thank you.
Thank you. There are so many calls. Let's get your views. What is your view about what happened today? Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and tell us your contribution.
Hello, sir. I'm Mike from within Zambia, Kafue. I wanted to find out with what has happened today. Where are we now as supporters of DM? Is the petition going ahead, or we forget about it now? Sorry, I joined in late, so maybe you had some time to explain about it. But if you can explain again, so that we are.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and make your contribution. Mkwai.
Ndivose okusumisha kwesesofuna okulanda bakola abo bamayo babali nomishitopo tufikire tatukwete constitution mu Zambia nachipwa kushyaba mundu birapanga twalirekereza lyapita tabuli naimbi chance yaba mundu birati mu 2031 ilira shinga twayibukisha ila kuchita rep constitution ile hamba fe kunchita bena busambo na bamaranji palape nefi bachita rep constitution ile ashirikoni koti bena bali kwisha na baisi zeti epa ingiliro olubola jifo ebena Zambia twalikwataka akasela akakuloresha asesinti sire chitika turefita mbafye so nachako ka program yenu muliranda bwino sana nomba question inkwetera kuti abena Zambia ko umuntu ayiperisha bose bayiperisha ukwe bati twetu chite protest peacefully twarambira pesa ama leaders besu bali kwisa kwisa question ikalamba abantu bakwete because umuntu eka umutaina emu street so twala ikatishanya shani pakutira tubombe uyu mulimo otherwise apanga yapita nishi yapita and 2031 will be something different. Nimbi twala fika fye na pala pena abanensu tuli mfo bafikira tukudi kushivota okukufyalo fya abanensu bambiwe parliament bali nchita decide ba president ekishupi okuchita kuli aba abantu nga twabamona fye oko baleya noko tulelola in dictatorship so twala kitashani ipesa twala yambira kuli abo abali ready ama leaders besu bali kuisa pantu individuality twimefye emashufe nkwete bamwambayo.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and make your contribution.
Yeah, my name is Sharpshooter. I'm calling you from South Africa. Hello?
Please go ahead and make your contribution.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba. It's my contribution is concerning what happened today. It's really very, very unfortunately, actually, Basarana, to see how they have paralyzed our judiciary. which plays a very important role in our country. How they are hate. And when people are talking like this, meaning inside their heart, it's paining to see their beloved country go to this extent, all because of how one person wants to hold on to power and control everything. Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba, you have been in government and you know how this is played out. Stories like this, they don't end well. They normally don't end well. And leaders who rule a country like this, they don't end up in good places. We cannot be savages all because we want to hold on to power. It's totally very wrong. And also, Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba, you have worked with, you've been with MMD, with President Chiluba, you've been with President Sata, you've been with President Edgar Lungu. I want to ask you one question. How does a military or security agencies go and raid a presidential candidate who is possibly about to become a president? That was a gamble. It's not done like that. It's not done, and we must condemn everything that is happening in our country, starting from closing down the courts, the entire country, honestly. It's really, really, really bad. Because when you look at it, how they played,
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Let us take more calls. There are so many people that wish to speak. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Anonymous Ambassador. Yeah, I'm calling from Lusaka, but I mean to be anonymous.
Thank you.
Yes, Ambassador. Unfortunately, I've been listening to the programs, and I'm grateful for your programs, Ambassador, that you've been at least updating us with what's happening in Zambia and the like. But unfortunately, I think us Zambians, we are very much, I think we are cowards. I call us cowards in a way that from the time we've been talking about this thing, from the time we've had elections and the updates, we've all been there. Everyone has been saying we go to the streets and protest. We go to the streets and protest. But nobody has ever come up and say, we go there now, guys, okay, fine, let's do this. Let's start up a protest on this day. And then no one has ever organized this thing. And we've had your platform where we've been talking about all these things. So unfortunately, I think it's something which we have to look into ourselves. Because there's no way I, as an individual, I'm going to stand up there at the statue, at the freedom statue and start the protest. I will appear like Chirufya Tayari. Remember when Chirufya Tayari went there alone, and I think some years back, he was there standing with the post, and then, I will appear to be very stupid and being a coward. So I think your platform is a better platform to talk about protests. And to say, okay, fine, tomorrow let's go in the streets, let's meet at this time and this time, at this point and this point in every district or every province. So I think it's high time we stopped talking about, say, no, let's go to the streets. Even the ladies, the women, our mothers who've been talking about protests, it's high time they came up, one of them to be talking about, okay, fine, let's start the protest on this day, on that day. I think it will help us in like that. Otherwise, we'll be talking about this and not until 5 years in the next elections. I submit.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Mwamba.
Hello, caller.
Are you getting me, sir?
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
First and foremost, I would like to appreciate you for this opportunity to be able to speak to the Zambian people. I wish to respond to one of the previous callers who said, what should we do? She was asking about how we can conduct the protest. The thief, in the name of the president, Akainde, has set his inauguration to 1st September. In this respect, I would like to suggest that on the 1st of September, we can conduct a nationwide protest. All of us put on black t-shirts, countrywide, in every city, in every district, so that as it's being inaugurated, at the same time, we are protesting. That's what I would like to put across, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello?
Yes, caller.
Hello, Mr.
Yes, caller. Please make your contribution.
Yes. I want to make a contribution because I think Zambia has gone to the dogs. If we let Zambia to be like this, then we are going to suffer in future. What is important now is just to go for a protest, because this man has taken us for granted. He's doing things on his own head. He's not helping out Zambians. But in the favor, resigned because that was a coup d'etat he did. After somebody has won and then he instructs soldiers to start grabbing votes. Where on earth does this thing can happen? Because now, even soldiers, they need to up their games because there are some soldiers who are not happy in the barracks. So they should also help us because it's not about protecting one person. They should protect the Zambian people because us who are suffering. Zayere should know whatever he's doing is stealing votes from the Zambian people. So we need to up our games and protest. You shouldn't even have the inauguration ceremony. You should stop and you should resign from today. Thank you, Mr. Mwamba.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening. Mwamba.
Thank you, my brother. Make your contribution.
I'm anonymous.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I've heard quite a lot of people are frustrated and very upset. And I want to respond to my brother who just called in to say on the day that he is being inaugurated, then we go countrywide. That will be too late. I would call for that to be done starting even on this Friday. The first will be when? So we can even start maybe even by tomorrow. This is a world where we're living, is an IT world where we can organize ourselves within 5 minutes. We don't need a day, 2 days for you to organize. A lot of people are burning inside, and what has happened is the last nail on the coffin of democracy in Zambia. And I can assure you, like almost everyone has said, there is no chance in 2021. Already, starting with Cosmas, he's on TV, radio, preaching that the term limit be removed. We've heard a lot of UPND surrogates who have supported for that, who have been singing for it. Immediately Bill 7 went through, they were on all platforms singing for Bill 5 to remove the presidential term of office. And this has been the plan all along. This has been the plan all along because we can see clearly how these MPs, especially Lusaka and Copperbelt, were selected, handpicked. And I'm very frustrated to talk about a seat for my brother in Bangwe Ulu, Anthony Kasandwe. This is on record that everyone else knows. And I'm very upset for those Zambians who were part of these agents, who were observers, saw these injustices being done, saw these rubbish being done, and are quiet for fear of being persecuted. We cannot continue being quiet. This is the right time for you to speak. You saw what you saw. You were told what you were told. And this is the time for you to rise and speak against that evil. Because when things start breaking in this country, it won't spare you. That because you were quiet, you'll be also affected. And this is why we've never stopped talking. And if there was a time that Zambians stood up and spoke, this is the time. This is the time to speak. And I'm talking directly now to the men and women in uniforms. You are fools. Fools of the highest order. You cannot be used by one individual. How much do you get paid? 5,000. 5,000 you have lost Kafwaya because of 5,000. You have arrested more than 100 people because of 5,000 you are getting paid. Are you normal as a Zambian? Is that what you were sworn in to defend? That is being rubbish, and this is the time when our enemies are rising and now coming to attack us.
My dear brother, just a minute. You know, I run this platform, and in the end, it's my platform. I want you to retract your attack on the men in uniform. The misconduct of Lieutenant General Ziele is isolated. What he is doing is criminal, but it cannot reflect as a decision of the whole defense forces. No, it cannot. Our men in uniform are... Just a minute, I give guidance and direction. These are respected people. The criminal conduct of Ziele, the criminal conduct of that Shapwaya, from who's head of the commando, you have to isolate them from the larger units of the army and the defense forces. Let us be clear. If Musamba is misconducted himself and abusing the office, we isolate him from the general populace of the police. I think that's a guidance I would give if you wish to speak on this platform.
Thank you for that guidance, Ambassador. But these are commandeers. These are people with authority who are looking down on those poor people who are suffering. But can it not take your voice to deny, to say, I'm not allowed to do this? Why should you just give in because it's a chain of command? No, people, we cannot continue. And this is not the democracy that we grew up with. This is not it. And that's why they know our character. They know our character. And this has manifested itself. Do you think No.
Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your thoughts. Let me give guidance once again. The attack on the men in uniform is a serious one, and I needed to immediately address it with the caller. We are all annoyed. We are all angry at the issues where President Hakainde Hichilema literally is giving himself powers, is giving himself a second term, is re-electing himself with the help of Mwangala Zalomi's Chief Justice and Ziele. Their acts are illegal. Their acts are they're misconducting themselves. We must make it very clear. By the use of these officers, it doesn't mean that every judge agrees with what Chief Justice did today. What Mwangala Zalomis did doesn't mean that everyone agrees with the theft she has participated in and the change of votes. What Ziele is doing, deploying the military in polling station, which is an act against all protocols we've signed with SADC and the African Union. And he himself, if he was a competent Zambia Army commander, he would know that Filata Bachita is an attack on our democracy, on our electoral process, and on our constitution. We need to isolate the crimes of the office holders to the institutions they hold, so that you don't insult everyone. Mwewantu Akwalesa, that's my appeal. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba. Sinyangwediani on the line.
Mwali kwino mwadubira mubowa.
However, Ambassador Mwamba, like sometimes you need to, I follow you, I pass some comment, but sometimes you need to understand, kutuwalande finti fingi, but you need to calm down, and we're in the process, we are coming down. But as we are coming down, Mwamba, the Zambian people, and I like the way even in the evening you were saying, they keep on asking, Mwamba, but what are we going to do about it? Because, like we are saying, we know who's behind it. And all we are going to do, if we're just going to talk and continue talking, but without doing anything, this fight is not for Bamundibele or Bamwamba or for me. It is for all of us Zambians. And when we say Mwewa to start protesting, we're not saying be lawless. But it's the message that you're going to send to this person to say, we haven't accepted you and we are not happy with what you're doing. You are killing democracy and you're stealing democracy. The democracy that Chiluba and the MMD people brought back, it's now been stolen. And there are people who are even celebrating. This is not about Bamwamba. This is not about, it's about us. What can we do to protect our democracy? The only thing I would say, yes, we need to we need lesser to pepe, but we need to act, Mwebantu. That once we are all grieved, we are all not happy. We are seeing that Zambia is turning into a dictatorship. And the question your children and my children will ask, what did you do about it? And that's a question that I'll ask everyone that is listening. And I'm not saying I'm inciting violence. I'm inciting people to do the right thing. I end here, Bamwamba. I've been following you too long. For even yesterday's program was wonderful, but God continue blessing you. Don't give up, Bamwamba.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Bamwamba Mwabombeni.
Mwabombeni.
I'm quiet. Oh, Bamwamba. Popo tuafi. Katuko definition. Protesting, it's voicing out. Protesting doesn't mean causing chaos. No, it's just voicing out. I'm appealing to the women. Banamayo, chiten protesting. Bamama badiaba bidenga organized and you can protest. That is voicing out. Take site if you are awe elo baka pokola nama soja wale ni mulelanda tabaka twipa because it's not their duty ukwipa ya bantu ero ngani kuri fa bene bana mayo tabaka twika te kuno twikata. Yeah. I'm speaking out. Ngana chira mupepi nganewe newa chana organize. But okondi kutali, but I'm trying to send the message. Kuli bana mayo, ifo bana mayo, wambi direpo. Umfani bana mayo oko mukiuko mwebantu, eko mulimu itina. Baka pokola bengi bali sad. Nama soja bengi bali sad. Eba laisa kustana support. Protest is peaceful. We have to voice out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening. I would rather remain anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Mwamba. I'll start by thanking you for the tremendous job that you have done. You have worked so tirelessly to inform the people, educate the people, and at least keeping us abreast all the time. But I just have a concern. I've heard people saying that people are supposed to rise, people are supposed to do what and stuff. But the problem that I have is one, Mwamba. In as much as people are working hard to to protest, to rise against the hostages. Problem to Taimo. Now, I mean, we've got two problems. Number one problem that we have is that we can't even trust our own people in our systems. You'll find that a lot of them are sellouts. And this has been shown by the way the Bill 7 was handled. Parliament. Even when people talked, the church talked and stuff, these people went and did something against the wishes of the people. Today we are just learning that some of the people who were very close to the people were supporting to redeem us from this regime. So how do you expect things to change? Then the number two thing, there is a big gap between the grassroots and the leadership. I can ask the people on this platform a simple question to say, Bushe, what chairman venu ku place oko mwikala? And if you don't even know our what chairman and our what this, how are people even going to start and to rise and start protesting? How? Because we need people, but grassroots, to coordinate the people who are going to protest. People really want to protest. They want to go and fight. They want to go and they can even fight those soldiers in uniforms. But we don't have people, background, those so-called chairmen, what secretaries. That's where things should start from. And that's why you find that actually the NRPUP stroke RP, this is PF. The reason why this party is still strong up to now, it's because Vasada understood grassroots politics. This is where we've been lacking. Wherever you go, I'm a chairman, but people are strong. So how can people even rise to go and start fighting when we have no people to coordinate us? Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. The caller, we may need to refer to what Jesus Christ said, to the women, because we love crying and hoping that someone else will save us. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give us your contribution. Yes, Anonymous. Please speak louder.
Yes, I want to talk about that issue. In Zambia, it cannot go anywhere because our father, therefore, come out in the The problem of us men of God in the Zambia is that we want to use men of God, most especially in this never. That is the problem what we have. This is not a time for never. This is a next generation. And one thing what I want to encourage men of God, if you want to know, because our father they did this, the Bible says in the book of Ezekiel, the Bible says that a son can never, no daughter can never bear the consequence of his father. So we cannot condemn, this is a different generation. The problem what we have is that we love to condemn because they are our father, they have done this, they have done this and this and this. We need to remove that mind. Uncle Mamba, today I vowed and I cried. The problem of men of Zambia is that one thing is that they are fear, and the second thing is that some of certain men of God, they love the men of God, they love money. In this nation, they want to know what reconciliation and what. How can you allow a reconciliation yet a man does not equal reconciliation?
Thank you very much. Callers, as you can see, I've got Dr. Brian Sampa is about to join me briefly. Those that are calling, just give us a few minutes to allow Dr. Brian Sampa to make contributions. He has just joined us, left the hospital, and he has just found a moment to contribute. You know, he's a valuable partner on this program. So all callers, just let's give a few minutes to my dear brother, Brian Sampa, to make his contribution. Mr. Sampa, good day, and how are you?
I'm okay. How are you, Ambassador?
I'm not okay. I'm not okay. The burden of the nation appears to be on my shoulders, even when I have to summon courage just to come and sit here for 2 to 3 hours. But it is well. The Lord is strengthening us, and the Lord will keep us well. Make your contribution.
You're right. Yes, Ambassador. So I want to talk about the situation in our country, which is unfolding. So as people have seen, we are at a stage where now this kind of dictatorship is now full-blown. Now, this is a danger because, Ambassador, what we saw today, where all the courts across the country were barricaded by the police and the military, and for some reason, they are giving a flimsy reason, saying that, no, it's because there is a security situation. But if you've been following the trend of things, even during the time of elections, there was a time when they paused the elections, they said the counting was paused, or because they said there was a security situation. Now, because of the dictatorial tendencies, which we now are calling a full-blown dictatorship, because it's like somebody's showing signs and symptoms of malaria. Now, after you've made the full diagnosis that this is malaria, this is the point we are at. There were signs and symptoms earlier. And those signs, they showed that we were about to have a dictatorship. Now we should just be working with this dictatorship and knowing altogether that we are dealing with a dictatorship. So, Ambassador, what concerned me the most was the fact that they wanted to justify that the closure of the courts is because there was a security concern. Now, if at all there was a security concern, how can that security concern be in all the courts in the country? And how can that security concern all of a sudden lead to the closure of all the courts in the country? Why didn't they just prepare enough security to prevent whatever breach was going to happen? But the problem is, they have already run with this story of a militia. And because in a dictatorship, you create an enemy, so they have created a militia, and yet the government wants to come out as the savior of the people. So they will continue running with this narrative, and they are yet to do even worse. Now, why is it difficult, and why are we supposed to be opposed to dictatorship? Number one, we need to remember that dictators are paranoid. And understand that right now, Hakainde is very paranoid, and every time he's moving, he doesn't know what can hit him, he doesn't know who can betray him. He didn't want to give not even a slight chance of taking the case to court because he doesn't trust the judges. He thinks that maybe one judge may become reasonable enough because of the enormous evidence that we have. He was scared that maybe a judge can move and flip against him. As a result, he didn't want that to happen. Secondly, in a dictatorship, what we will see now is that the coming budget, for instance, the security wings are the beneficiaries of a dictatorship, not the ordinary Zambians, because this man will make sure that he protects himself at all costs at the expense of democracy. That's why dictatorship should be shunned by all well-meaning Zambians. Because we can't develop as a country with a dictatorship. His preoccupation will be how to protect himself. Because in the past, up to 2021 when ECO was there, presidents were very safe in Zambia. ECO would even walk in town because nobody really would do any harm to them. But when you are a dictator, you stifle the rights of the people. People have got no way of venting. As we are speaking, people cannot go to court and air out their complaints. People can't go to a police and expect full and free and fair kind of judgment. No one is going to treat them fairly unless they belong to the UPND. So if people are not allowed to vent, then people resort to other measures of venting. That's why dictators always know that there is always an impending danger on their life. Now, because of that, they become paranoid and they start spending enormous amounts of money at the expense of democracy. They will spend a lot of money trying to defend themselves and protect themselves. The other sector that we will see benefiting so much in dictatorship is the media, because most of the media houses right now are under payroll by this dictatorship. They will make sure they do that. But I want to encourage the Zambians that there are so many ways we can fight this dictatorship, because despite them enormously paying the media and having all those desensitized followers, at this point in time, even to support UPND is becoming something abnormal. I was speaking to one of my colleagues, a psychiatrist. We were analyzing the situation that has been happening. And for sure, we can see that it's becoming an abnormality. Even when you look at people who are supporting Hakainde, Hakainde can do anything that he wants. And these people are going to come out and still defend. It is very disheartening to see them even trivialize the death of Mutotwe Kafwaya. They are even trivializing the shots that were fired where Mundubile had to survive. Can you believe, Ambassador, that others are even appreciating the fact that the courts have been closed? They are so happy, jubilating. But this is what dictatorship does. If Satan can have followers, who is a dictator not to have followers? But just by merely having followers, it doesn't make you a right person. And we can see, if Hakainde indeed won the election and is a Democrat who he pretended to be in 2021, we wouldn't have a country without courts. Now, a country without courts still has got somebody making the laws. But right now, the law and order is Hakainde. That's why we've seen that even these organizations, I really want to be categorical. Most of these people you've seen, some lawyers, some organizations coming out like they are blaming. Like one of these, there's somebody who posted, a well-known human rights activist who comes out and says, oh, Mr. President, you know, we need to give an explanation to the country for the closure of the courts. Nobody needs an explanation because there is no need to close the courts. There is nowhere in the world where the courts have ever been closed. So we are not asking for an explanation. When you hear someone saying, you need to explain to us, just know that they are working with Hakainde. And that's how it is in dictatorship. They still retain certain people who are supposed to be pretending to be activists, human rights observers, and all that. Meanwhile, what they are doing is trying to dampen the mood. We even have some lawyers who pretend to be human rights activists in dictatorships. But meanwhile, all they are doing is they're just trying to sound like they're part of the people so that when they change, people are going to say, oh, even this reputable person has agreed that things are okay. So we need to discern these things and avoid looking up to these people. We've got a lot of people right now who are in hiding. People are running away, and we've got a lot of things that are happening behind closed doors. But what we will see, if this is not fought well, we need to know that democracy died the day that these elections were held. The moment Mundubile ran away, the moment that they killed Mutotwe Kafwaya, that's the day that democracy went. So if we are going to handle this situation like it's a democracy, then we are wrong. We are no longer in a democracy.
There is a heat wave where he is, and being a doctor, maybe his phone is not fully charged, you know, he just came to quite quickly contribute. Let me see if I can get him again. But that's Dr. Sampam making the contribution.
Social media, Mundubile masoja ya muenela. They aimed at his life, Kaili mavote yeve bana mubela. Mavote walipela Mundubile, but my results need different story. You stole his vote, we are now a military state. Who will speak for the people? Now that Kafwaya Mwapaya, the votes are stolen, then what is the purpose of elections? Democracy is dying. Mutotwe Kafwaya, tell me
It looks like Doc is back. Doc, continue with your thoughts.
Yes, Ambassador, my apologies. So the thing is that when you look at what is happening in our country, people need to open up their eyes that as long as we've got a dictator in office, dictators will always galvanize around themselves because they are always in danger of being removed. And as a result, every arm of the government is controlled by them, and they make sure they put loyalists. Look at Mumba Malila. People were thinking that he was a very upright man who was going to make sure that judiciary was upright. But when you look at what he is doing exactly what the dictator wants. The same thing that we saw with National Assembly. When you saw what was happening to Parliament, the moment that they removed Bowman Lusambo, the moment that they removed Malanji, that's the time we should have acted. Because now that same thing has continued as we are talking now. He controls the media, he controls the executive, he controls also the military, he's controlling everything. And as we are going, you will see that most of the people, including the people, Ambassador was disturbed yesterday. One of the people who even went to see Chester and IDC, the loyalists to this government, they came back laughing. They were recording themselves laughing at Chester and IDC. You can't trust anyone this time, especially supporters of the government, because those people, some of them are just coming to get information. And that's what happens in a dictatorship. In a dictatorship, there's a lot of betrayal. A lot of times, people are only loyal to the government and they don't care what happens. Even their supporters, one of their supporters here posted on Facebook and said that, they need to give people a chance. There's a man, I don't know if his name is Akashambat or something. He posted that it's not a good thing that people are not given a chance to file in court and all that. When he sounded reasonable, he was still being attacked by the members of his party, because that is how a dictatorship is. It's either you follow what they are doing or not. There is no reasoning involved. But we can't go on like this. Zambia has always been a beacon of peace. And because Zambians are peaceful people, this is why it's very easy for a dictatorship to flourish, because no one is fighting them. No one is trying to do anything about it. The people who are talking, but organizations and others, they are all folding their hands because either they are eating with them or they are just afraid. I saw the union, the judiciary union, the one Mr. Mwale spoke about why it was the right thing to do. First, to start with, it is so wrong for a union to even come and side with the government and say it's okay to close the courts. But that is what dictatorships do. Dictatorships are always justifying, and they'll always find somebody among the people to justify their action. So when I saw Mr. Mwale there, this is the second time I'm seeing Mr. Mwale, because I remember Mr. Mwale and I, at one time, there was that time when we were dealing with the sensitization about alcohol and all that. That's the first time I met Mr. Mwale. But I couldn't even believe that Mr. Mwale was part of the union. But later when I learned that, he is the same person, Mr. Mwale, who is now the union president for the judiciary. But the way he was talking today, he spoke exactly what the government wanted to say. That's what happens. So people have changed. A lot of people are trying to survive. And the thing with the dictatorship is that they dish out money. Sometimes they coerce people, sometimes they dish out money. So we should be very careful. None of these people you are seeing who are supporting are actually supporting because they love Hakainde. Most of them are either surviving or they are benefiting directly. They have got instant gratification. That's why this is happening. If things were to change tomorrow, they will be the best source of information. They will tell you everything that was happening during this dictatorship. But this is very dangerous to our children and our future as a country. That's why, as Zambians, please, let's hold our hands together. This is not the time to look at which opposition party somebody belongs to. In fact, this is where we will see who a leader is and who a leader is not. Because there is no way you can even fold your hands as an opposition. You were aspiring for candidacy to be president, and then you see that the same things that allowed you to flourish during the other governments are being taken away, but you're still clapping. then that means you are a very selfish individual. If you are an opposition leader right now and you can't speak for Mundubile, you can't speak for the Zambian people. If you want not to speak for Mundubile, that's up to you. But you can't still ignore what the Zambians are calling for. It's time to speak out, and action is needed, Ambassador. The thing is that dictatorships don't always listen to the voice, because what happens in dictatorships is that they flood the media. And you've seen how much you are trying, how we are trying, but the media is flooded by a lot of wrong information. But it's up to each and every Zambian to be resisting this dictatorship, because if it is not resisted, let me give just a grim picture of what is happening right now. Already the military in Zambia, who we never got used to seeing, are now all over in the country. They are moving in markets, they are moving in compounds. The military have already tested the power. Hakainde has given the military also the financial muscle. Now the military are running businesses. They are running mines, and they are also running milling plants. And now he's giving them a lot of contracts. They are making money. Some of the money which is being siphoned is through the military, because much of the military budget is hidden. So they know how they are stealing the money. Now, when the military tests that kind of power, it becomes very difficult. And when you mix the military with the civilians, the military already know that by virtue of their training, they are superior when it comes to force. So if you put such people in front, the next thing is intimidation. And that's why we can see that a lot of people are being intimidated. There is a funny story, Ambassador, which happened today. One person who is a very staunch Tonse supporter was approached by one of the relatives, because apparently the UPND followed that relative and said, go and talk to him to withdraw from Tonse. I won't disclose their name. They wanted him to withdraw from the Tonse Alliance. The person refused. Can you imagine that they went and approached the wife that you should divorce him if he doesn't withdraw? The wife had to threaten to divorce the guy if he didn't withdraw from Tonse Alliance. So we had to sit down and try to talk to him and the wife to just encourage him. That is how desperate these people have become. They are using any means necessary. And by any means necessary, they will be able to do whatever they want. So Zambians need to be careful. And I want to just advise those people who have got friends who are in UPND. You need to be careful of what you say in front of these people, because don't trust them so much. They will be the ones snitching. They will be the ones going to tell this government. So Zambians, I think I would buy into what the other caller said. There is that caller who said, if the day comes, the day of inauguration, then let the people put on something to show that there is dissent. Like if people can wear black and show that they are not agreeing to what is happening and they are mourning Mutotwe Kafoya, I think that will be very helpful, because it's peaceful. You are not causing any trouble. You are not breaking anything. You are not causing any noise. You are just putting on black to show that it's a mourning period, and indeed there is nothing good that is happening in our country, because we've lost democracy and we need to fight this, Ambassador. And I appreciate you for the job that you are doing and everyone who is involved.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, and thank you for your comments, and thank you for your encouragement. Callers, we'll take the last few calls, and we close on top of the hour. Thank you very much. Doc, I'll let you go.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Yes, okay. So you asked me how I am, and you asked me whether the closure of the courts is the democracy that we want. And in response to your question, I can say this, that I am not well. I cannot be well under these circumstances that we are seeing and what we've been seeing in the last few days and maybe a week now. As to the question of is this the democracy that we want? Honestly speaking, I do not know of any democratic system in which the premises upon which this cannot be regarded to be a democracy. Because I don't know anywhere else where they close the premises of the Constitutional Court or any court when it is well known that a petition was going to be filed on what we regarded to be a last day for filing in of a petition after a major presidential and general election. This
is enough. What President HH has done to us, enough is enough. He has stolen the elections, and that is clear. So now it's time to go out in the street. I'm speaking from a point of view of a woman. So there's nothing we can do about it. We cannot leave this ball for you alone to fight or for our leaders alone to fight. So let's hold hands in every province. If it means protesting, we protest. Enough is enough. Hakainde Hichilema does not own this country. He was just born, just like any one of us. So he should not oppress us as Zambians. Enough is enough. I think we've tolerated more than enough. So let's hold hands as Zambians, and we wait to hear from our leaders the way forward. We are ready to protest. That's my contribution. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Ramamba.
Yes, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, this is Mwa from Livingston.
Bamwewa from Livingston, make your contribution.
Thank you so much. Ramamba, we are at a very difficult stage as a country, where our hopes, but they pass our hopes, yes. But could they hope we are the Rungu? I be a Rungu no Shatawak. Wakata hope my elections, through Mundu and Makebi. My elections, was said in that. Lelo, hope to watch what? Muma courts. Much hope you want to feel Karachalo. I hope Muma courts not have one baby. So it's I don't know how long we are going to endure, Bamwamba. At this stage, I don't know what we must do. But again, on the other hand, nachikunka wino sana nanka analysis yenu. When you had received the threats, you had to do an action, and you found yourself that side in the midst of prayer. Prayer therefore, but one thing that we Zambians must understand is that naina lesa afwa abayafwa. Ama channels yonse narrowed down. Any possible legal means it uli nafikana. Lesa afwa abayafwa. I'm not saying people must be violent, but I think we have very few options now. We need to prepare ourselves for very, very, very peaceful protests, whereby we give respect to human life and property. And then the other thing, remember, is that we are in this period, where we have even lost a former minister, Honorable Mutopeka Fwaya. Na issue na mwefu ilisa issue pepanya issue where they have even threatened to arrest others have been arrested and they want to be given in charge of treason. Now remember, I don't know if people can be in a mediation measure. You know, everything that is happening to this country, if you think about so shall never remember, but I'm options talk with you say, yeah, what next? Lesa Afwa Abayafwa. I think as Zambians, we've gotten to a point where because I'm a destroyer of Kuntanshuku. I don't know I'm a destroyer of Kuntanshuku. But I can see very, very dark days ahead of us. That is if we don't fight.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Bamwamba mwabombeni.
Twabomba.
Emkweba mwamba I'm just going straight to contribute. Filia ifichitikele Zambia. Chintu chakweba ati fufuwe na Zambia tuishi vyawe. Baaka inde ichilema na UPND bali do summer election. And even all the SADC countries, the neighbor, the whole Africa and the world have just come to realize that this guy, he has been lying, he has been pretending. All this time he has been being celebrated in Africa. They just discovered that he's just a liar. President Hakainde Hichilema and UPND lost election. If President HH Ali win my election, there was no need, there was no way can instruct the Chief Justice Mumba Malila to close all the wheel of justice. These things, it has never happened. No matter where our countries where have been in war, a different situation, courts have never been closed. Ichachilenga tibesale amakoti baaka inde ichile matabale focus evana because no mwana fyo muno no alishibo kwebati ama election baliba. There are a lot of examples. I don't want to go through that in the social media. That is a straightforward. It's not even anything to explain. Now, uyo muntu alikwete script yakale. We made a mistake when he was appointing certain people from a certain region into governance system, into a very technical position. To Ali Mulekela, we are watching, we didn't. And the Abadu down, these are very important institutions like the church, the non-government organization, the Law Association of Zambia, and all these important organizations. When even Dr. Fred Membe raised the flag, this person is appointing people from one region. We thought it was a joke. So that he has prorogated the whole court, actually what has happened today, the Zambian constitution has been dissolved because you can't do anything minus the will of justice. You can't do business. There's no any contract can be signed. It has even undermined the investment confidence in this country. There is no any investors we see us can come and invest in the country where a president or anybody else can walk up and they says it was Salama court, nothing's going to happen. That is investment risk area. So these things to Ali Mulekela. And when he was trying to divide certain groupings, we need to go into deep down. President Hakainde Hichilema, he has been dividing the country using the same people from the same region fighting each other. If you are not with me, you are against with me. So that's what it is. And actually he has now shown that Nami Chita, Mwale Mulakwati Mwali Changela, na Mr. Fixed. So there was a certain groupings that has been make sure he finish economically, politically. You know, even the associate, now people team are not going to survive until you are going to bow down and everything. But no mbefo chaba mchalo. Lesa bako eka. Tu amazamente kwa nabakwata omwenso owakusta protest and other things. Uyu muntu takwata feeling. If you mtoto Kafwaya died into that cold-blooded, and he has even felt, even to issue in a statement, not even anything to show even remorse. They don't respect human life. So that's why when Zambia and Mamla soldiers are hit squads within the military personnel and security personnel. Two. If you see what Chufetali, Sia1 and everybody, they have even told him you can even kill even 500 people, doesn't care. In Tanzania people died, in Uganda people died, those presently, but nothing happened. Just as I concur what you said, that if we can't fight on our own, don't expect outside to come and fight. Zambian, kekweba tinaba ibakuwe naba standard umuntu tatina umwe wa muntu can do it.
It's cut. Let's go to the next one. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
I will remain anonymous. My appeal to the men and women in uniform. Zambians, towards not letting Ukwimati Tueshta and can protest for fear that maybe they will come with force and things like that. But I want to appeal to the men and women in uniform that they are Zambians, and when they support us, this thing will not fail. Only one person is against everybody else. This thing will not fail. The protest will not fail. Eventually, pressure will be on the president to step down. The men and women in uniform, you are also Zambians. You have relatives, and you are feeling how everybody else is feeling in Zambia. Please, when the Zambians say we cannot take this anymore, it is your duty to support them and to protect them and not to come against them. This is the only country that we have. So men and women in uniform, I appeal to you. People are quiet because they fear you, that you will come and you'll be used to crush them. But you are also Zambians. You are feeling it. Please help the Zambians so that democracy can prevail in this country.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Ambassador Mamba.
Hello.
Let me remain anonymous.
Thank you.
We thank you for the job well done you are doing to the mother Zambia. You have the heart for Zambia. A contribution here and Yakobati, let's act as Zambia to stop this evil act. Because if we let him go like this, another person who will come as a president in future will repeat the same thing. So let us defend our constitution and democracy. Let us say no to dictatorship, because this guy has taken Zambia at ransom and he thinks that we are docile. That building in Chinsari, where his brother is bragging about and intimidating people, and I'm calling people of Chinsari to discipline that brother of HH. In fact, tomorrow, you people from Chinsari, if you are listening, chase him out from Chinsari. Because those buildings were built by Lungu and Sat, not his brother.
Thank you very much, my caller. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Ramamba, I just wanted to conclude my thought.
Okay.
Can I? Yes. What I was saying, I'm supporting what Dr. Samba said and the other callers. The protests, sometimes it's not about going in the streets. It's my proposal. I think wearing black starting on Wednesday to help. If all the Zambian people where they are, the support of democracy and the will of justice and our constitution, that the whole town become the dark day, showing that we are in the dark days of our country. That will show a big signal, because black people will start wondering why everyone is wearing black. So it will be very difficult for confrontation from the militant personnel, because people are just wearing black. I think protests, I'm urging all my brothers and sisters in Zambia, starting on Wednesday, we start wearing black. I thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Thank you. Let's take maybe two last calls before we go. Yes, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, this is Precious Inongyomega from Livingston.
I just want to congratulate Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu. Now we know that they are the ones who won the elections. This is why President Hakainde Hichilema is scared, because he knows he's going to be imbalanced. So now my message to you, Mr. President Hakainde Hichilema, you are just wasting your time. You cannot change the will of the people. This is the sign to show that people of Zambia, they are tired of you. Zambia is not a private property for you, Mr. President. You were supposed to know that the thing that you promised the people, you failed to fulfill them, and you cannot take Zambian people for granted. The truth is, just accept that you lost, and that's the truth. Democracy in Zambia, you were supposed to allow the petition to go on. For you to continue doing what you are doing this time, you cannot pretend to say you respect democracy. You don't respect democracy. By Manuel Mwamba, this is the time for Zambian people to wake up and know that this man is trying to destroy this country. Balungu told us, I'm going to bring back your democracy, because he knew that the man, his plan is to destroy democracy. So you, my pressing us, all of you who keeps on saying, yeah, Hakainde Hichilema won elections. Now today you have a good evidence to show you that indeed Hakainde Hichilema lost elections. People of Zambia, they don't want him. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
Mine is it's an eye opener. My name is Basil Kabwe. Mine, Mwamba, is an eye opener to these all people that are calling on this very progressive platform that has been made through active and truth and resilience of loving this country. I pity most of us Zambians with the spirit that we have. We've got a very low spirit. Anybody can come in and start intimidating us because they have formed a group. They formed a tribal movement of a group. They are doing something which we even know that this is wrong. What they're doing is wrong for our country. We can spend a lot of time in this show, on this podcast. We can spend hours talking about how we're going to sort out ourselves out. But I'm telling you, Honorable, this our platform is just going to be abused, and they're going to consume our airtime. Ideas are not built like this. People who love this country, they're not going to come us to ask to wear black. It's not time to wear black. This is not time to wear black. You never see when they're spoiling our votes, they are wearing black. They don't wear black. When they are attacking polling officers or polling agents, presiding officers, they don't wear black. That's it. They don't do that. When they are doing everything that you see, they don't wear black. They don't wear black. So we need to pray to God that God may the God Almighty make the sun to stand still so that we can see another day after our collective effort of doing something about it, not wearing black. Let's not be cowards. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Thank you so much. I'm Lebrand. I'm calling you from Mam Western Province. I think, Mwamba, you have seen what is happening even on this platform. That many of the callers, they are disclosing, they are closing their names. They don't want to disclose their names. Why? Is because even the church, you have seen that they are silent. They are not doing anything because what is happening they don't care. You are coming from the church, you are coming from any NGO, you are coming from anywhere. What they want is leadership. What I may say is we just have to put our minds and kneel down to God, because the only solution that we have at the moment is Jesus Christ, who died and resurrected for everyone. And for us to stand and fight physically, we cannot, because you have seen what happened, and everyone has observed, the nation, the whole world has observed, has seen what has happened. And no one has stood.
Hello, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, caller. Please tell us where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Okay, I'm anonymous. Vamwambala kwa kutaka contribute kuli fiwachara ndati kusala day more for black and that kind of thing. Even data suggest like what we did Paribachiruba. You remember Pari Temkwari Abantu at a certain time they were hooting. You know, those that are driving, if those that don't drive, maybe they can put on black, but those that are driving, they find a specific time, like whether it's 12 hours, everybody will just be hooting, you know, to let somebody know that this is the message. It's not just a mere hooting, but this is the message. Empire. Should I contribute?
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador. Thank you. They'll be in Zaire.
Make your contribution, caller.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Now, my question is, are we having any chance, because the closure of the high courts in Zambia isn't the fault of us as the opposition? My question is, are we having any chance to file in our papers?
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Okay, Mr. Mwamba, good evening. This is Jessica calling from Matero.
Yes, Jessica.
Quickly, to give other chances, I just want to remind my fellow Zambians on what is happening now. If we remember very well, like the UPND, what they used to do, immediately when they won power, they had to nullify all seats for PF so that they bring their own agenda, they get away our constitution and replace with what they are using now. I want just to point out just a few issues so that people, they should remind where we are coming from and where we are heading. This is very crucial, because we people, we don't pay attention. Article 46 of PF Constitution is there for everyone to understand. I just want to point out this article so that we, the people of Zambia, should pay attention that the current judiciary that we have with the UPND government, they've just selected their own people to be in those courts. Even the Chief Justice himself is not a very fair person, you know. That's why they can break our laws each and every time. Article 46 of PF Constitution, it says a lot compared to what Mao Samba said. Article 50.
Oh. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening.
Yes, it's a very difficult and awkward situation when you look at everything that has been happening. And if somebody has been following the events, actually, this was expected that we are now in a full-fledged dictatorship, whereby the media has been paralyzed, the local media. This is why we find that even the international media, they are also reporting as if they don't care about what is happening. Of course, we are quite aware now that the the outsiders cannot do anything in our democracy. But there's something that we are forgetting, that during the time when Nyakainde was in opposition, these international media, the BBC, they were all over the place to report what is happening. Today, there's totally different situation altogether. It's as if the whole world has just against what is happening against us. They don't seem to care. Even look at the way they look when kind of reporting that they are doing, it's very shocking. Somebody is talking about the irregularities that was happening, and that instead of looking at the actual thing that was happening, whereby the voting, the counting was disturbed, soldiers going into the polling station and start changing figures and all that. It's quite unfortunate. And then you look at the church organizations, the way they are the way they are coming up with issues, the way they are reporting, and how do you go for reconciliation, and then they don't just, first of all, ask for the people, people have been arrested for no reason at all. I mean, how do you go for reconciliation when you cannot resolve the issues? I will not be surprised if you to discover that these people might even, make some prayers to pray for somebody who stole the elections. It's quite unfortunate, Imam. It's quite unfortunate.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. Dear viewers, that marks the end of all the calls. All the phones are buzzing, but it's just not possible that we can attend to all your calls and your concerns. We've tried the last 2 hours in getting your views, and I think we've done the best what is humanly possible to hear from you. God bless you. We'll speak to you tomorrow at breakfast. We pray for strength that we can have the program at breakfast.
Traders across Ndola district have rejected the presidential election results announced by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, which declared United Party for National Development UPND candidate Hakainde Hichilema the winner of this year's presidential election. Mr. Hichilema, who scooped the polls against 13 other contenders, defeated his closest rival Brian Mundubile of the NRP-UP. The traders have alleged that the presidential election was neither free, fair, nor transparent. Speaking to Sun FM TV News, the traders expressed dissatisfaction with the outcome, arguing that they are still awaiting the announcement of what they described as the rightful winner of the presidential election.
Kantu ifwe muno mundola nanga kopa belt tuwarefu wa mundubile nonga amavoto fwe ya reisa nefo ya ringiro okuba tefyo tefo tuwavote refireko bapendera amavoto.
News in the social media Mundubile masoja ya muenela. They aimed at his life. Kaili mavote yeve bana mubela. Mavote walipela Mundubile, but my results need different story. You stole his vote. We are now a military state. Who will speak for the people? Now that Kafwaya Mwapaya, the votes are stolen. Then what is the purpose of elections? Democracy is dying. Mutotweba, tell me who pulled the trigger. Another 2 man in dying. Democracy is dying. Zambia is a danger zone. Ugu vota Wanshi, Wanshi. He came in power on democracy. He now has power through hypocrisy. Constitution is dead in front of foreign cameras. Apanumba Bomfia Masoja. You attack the boys at midnight without regard for their life. Vinshimuti Nabakateka with guns. Abateka, no goofy. Who killed Mutotwe Kafwaya? Who sent the assassins? Justice, not rhetoric. Noti Ubufia Tini militia. A stupid excuse used to persecute the opposition. The fake tree for now.